And now, after years of planning, sweating, and going broke, here is the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
I'll alert the media.
Why they would give this man a podcast is anyone's guess.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Welcome to the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Country music and fine moonshine. Finally, a podcast that lets it all hang out.
Let's level with America.
Got your boots? Ready for some whiskey?
These boots are made for walking.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
And now, the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Hey everyone, Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are at episode 299 with our friend Clayton Johnson. He is on the show. He has a new EP that is out now. It is out today. Today is the release of that. We have also wrote? Whatever. There's a review out on our website. We haven't done a review in a while, so this is the first time, long time for that. Maybe we should do more of them. But yeah, whatever. So, new album's out. Every song, we've been listening to it for a week now, and it's been nonstop. It's great. Every song is fantastic. I don't want to give too much away. I want you to go listen to it. You won't be disappointed. But we have Clayton here today on the show. We talk about a lot of cool stuff, things he's doing. This guy is like a ray of sunshine. He is just absolutely fantastic. Great all-around dude. We talk about his time with Scotty McCreery, Sabrina Carpenter. A cool Joe Jonas story is in here. For those of you that know who those people are. For those of you that don't, trust me, you don't want to miss this conversation. So, Clayton, thank you so much for being here, being a part of this road to 300. Your music is great. You're a great dude. I think the world of you. I think you're doing great things. I cannot wait to meet you in person. For everybody else, if it's your first time here, welcome. If it is your almost 300th time here, I still can't believe that that's what we're saying. Welcome back. Check out our socials. We have cool merch. Go to our link tree. Everything is there. YouTube, Spotify, everything. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to do something like this. It means the world. For those of you that haven't heard, we were supposed to be at Jason Aldean and Brooks and Dunn tonight in Fenway. Show has been canceled due to what we've been told is a stage collapse and stage issues. So hopefully everybody is okay there. But tomorrow night we will be at the Big Ass Stadium Tour with Post Malone and Jelly Roll. And I think Sarah Farrell is opening that show. So we'll have all that stuff for you tomorrow. And yeah, stay tuned for all that. And episode 300 will be Tuesday, released Tuesday. Our good friend Nolan Taylor will be here for that, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, here is our conversation with Clayton Johnson. We hope you enjoy, guys. Cheers. We really get into it. I don't know how much you know about our show or what anybody has told you, but I have lovingly adapted the whole "Welcome to the Shit Show" for this show. That. Because that's what this has turned into, and it's great. Like, not in a bad way, not in a negative way, but just, when I first started this, I was a little more careful about some of the things I would say and tiptoe around. Now I don't fuck it. I don't care.
I love it.
So welcome to the shit show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. Thanks for taking your time on Memorial Day weekend of all times to do this.
Well, you know what? You said you're in Boston, but I'm in Nashville, and we had the gnarliest thunderstorm right now. It was dumping rain. So I took the opportunity to get some laundry done and clean the house a bit. It's looking spiffy in here.
Nice.
Hopefully tomorrow's a little bit better, but it's not looking like it. We got a crazy, crazy weather weekend here in Nashville, but it's all good.
Our weather here has been pretty wild. Where a few weeks ago we were in like the 80s, and it's Memorial Day weekend, and it's been 50. Like, it's just so
weird.
It's wild. It's
It's
wild.
yeah, it's a lot, but it's all
Yeah.
good, man. But Boston,
Yeah.
I was just in Boston a couple weeks ago actually on tour. We played at the hold on, someone with a B.
Brighton Music Hall?
Yes, Brighton
Yeah.
Music Hall. It was awesome. Great venue. The people were awesome. Boston's always been good to me, but I wish we connected before then. I would have brought you out to the show.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things where because I'm so this sounds super arrogant, but like because I'm so busy, like in my personal life, you know, my real job and with
Yeah.
this, like there's sometimes I don't see certain things or certain people until like they've come and gone.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, son of a bitch. You know, and
Yeah.
I
Damn, I
honestly
missed you.
I think it's one of those situations with you where I saw somebody was at your show and posted about it, and I was like, oh, who the fuck's this kid? And I'm like, I like when I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
I love it.
of course I missed it.
I love that, man. I mean, that
But
isn't that the best way to find new artists? Like, including I see your shirt with Zach Top on there, and I felt like such a gatekeeper because I saw Zach play maybe 3 years ago to maybe 20 people, and at
yeah,
this point, he only had a handful of songs out, and I found him, and I screenshotted everything, I sent it to my friends, and just saying, this kid's gonna be massive. Like, I remember this text. I'm screenshotting it now. This kid's gonna be
yeah,
huge. And if I'm usually not right, so I'm glad I was right about this one. But it was so cool. Got to spend a little bit of time with him after his show, and he played to 20 people, and now he's out here winning, brand new male artist of the
right,
year, and on tour. I think he's on tour with Luke Bryan right now and doing some crazy, crazy tours. But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he's incredible.
yeah. We saw him a couple weeks ago here. He played at the MGM at Fenway,
Yeah,
and you know that's a much bigger
yeah,
room, right?
yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
you know, it was a Sunday night, and the place was sold out. I couldn't believe it.
crazy,
I
awesome, good
couldn't
for him,
believe.
man. Country
Yeah,
music is alive and well. We love
yeah,
it.
yeah, and like it's nice to have that sound of country music being
Mhm.
alive and well too.
Totally,
You know,
absolutely.
um, so yeah, so you know, I am famous or infamous for not looking into my guests before they come on,
Great.
because well, again, because I'm so fucking busy, and two, like I want to hear your story firsthand. I don't want to
Sure.
go in with a preconceived
Yeah,
anything, you
I
know.
love it.
I mean, I did look a little bit into you because of people were posting about you and stuff, so I wanted to kind of get an idea.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll say this right out of the gate because again, no holds bar here, right?
Love it. Let it out.
That your sound is not something I've been gravitating to lately, but I will
Okay.
say this: the stuff you have out is fucking amazing.
Well, sincerely, thank you.
Yeah,
It's not, I guess, what's in right now as far as your Zach Bryans and your Hudson Westbrooks
yeah,
and that kind of sound and stuff, which I love and appreciate everything that they're doing. But also, I want to be true to myself too, and the sounds and the music that I like. And I'm like a big like Jordan Davis fan
yeah,
personally. Love him, Thomas Rhett, Sam Hunt. Like that's the stuff I really love to write personally, and obviously, it turns out to my own unique sound because I'm not those guys, but they've
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
influenced what I'm doing. But man, I don't knock like when people are like this isn't for me or this is for me or like. So I take that as a huge compliment, honestly. That that might not be your flavor, but if you like some of the songs, that's
But see,
what
like
more could you
it's
ask for?
it's not even that it's not my flavor. It's just not my flavor right now.
Right now,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was funny. Like I was um where I record my episodes. I was on my way here and I was texting somebody and they were like, who's your interview with tonight? And I was like, oh, this kid Clayton Johnson. And I go, I'm kind of listening to his music now in the background while I'm texting and driving and doing 800 other things that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And so she texted me back and she's like, what are you going to talk about? His songs aren't sad.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, well,
Damn it.
thanks. Thanks for
Well,
just nailing me to the wall. That's nice.
noted. I need to write some more sad. I have one sad song, but it was like the very first song I put out. It was co-written with like this guy Derek Rutan, who's like an amazing, huge country songwriter, and yeah, I'll try to find some more sad songs for you and
Well,
send them
like,
your way.
and like that was the thing, right? Where like I was listening to some of your stuff, and forgive me, I'm awful with names. Like I
Dude,
can
it's
hear
all
a
good.
song and be like, oh, I know that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But like there was you had some hooks and some choruses and shit that I was like, damn, like
Thank you.
relatable
Thanks.
shit, which is
Thank you.
always, that's what country music's about, right?
Totally, totally. It's being real. It's true to my story and myself, and music for myself and a lot of other people's is therapeutic. And when you can relate to the story or to relate what the lyrics are saying, like that's what makes you connect so much more to an artist and a sound and all those things too. But in general, I'm just a really smiley, happy guy. Like for the most part, trust me, I have my days,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I think
yeah,
my music reflects it. Like
yeah.
I love being able to write deep songs, but also love just writing songs that give you a vibe and make you feel a certain way too. So I appreciate you just taking the time to listen. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's all you could hope for as an artist is somebody just taking the time to actually sit down and listen to your songs, even if you're doing 800 miles on the freeway and doing 500
Listen,
other things.
I
So
didn't say
it's fun.
that, but but like it was, but like I even caught myself like going like listening to them again.
Let's
And
go.
that's
Love
again,
that.
that's not something I do. I really don't. Like I'll listen to a song, I'll passively listen, then like aggressively listen, and
Yeah.
then that's it, right? But
Thank
like
you.
your
Huge
songs
compliment.
just kept going, and I was like,
Thank you.
damn! Like, and I
Thanks.
found myself singing along. It was like, this
Thank
is
you.
actually nice. I
Thank you,
feel
brother.
it was nice to
For
feel
real.
upbeat for a minute.
I love it. I love it. And as a songwriter, and I had my first number one last year, which I was super excited about. Not in the country space, which is a whole nother conversation we can have.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, writing in general, like my goal is somebody to hear my chorus one time and by the second chorus be able to at least know one or two words or a melody or something. So for me
yeah,
that's like what I take a lot of pride in is trying to find something that is an earworm whether you want it to be or not,
right,
after hearing it. So but
right.
also like I said, also writing relatable things. And this is kind of a little bit of a segue into my EP. My first EP, major label EP, comes out next week, and it's titled Live to Learn. And that song in particular just kind of embodies me and where I'm at in my life right now too, and learning things the hard way and getting beat down sometimes, but all of it being worth it at the end of the day
Yeah,
to create the man that I am standing, here virtually in front of you. So that's why we named it that, and I love that song. And but it's still upbeat and positive, even though it's a song about getting your butt kicked by work and life.
yeah,
It's still about, hey, it's worth it at the end of the day. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I think a lot of us lose sight of that. I mean, I know I sure as hell do, right? When like life and everything else is just kicking your ass, and like
Mhm.
you don't know if you're gonna come out on the other end, and like even though you know you are, right? But like some days it's tough, man.
Yeah, it is. It
You
is.
know?
So, I hope you take the time when you're sitting at home to listen to and listen to lyrics and feel that one out too.
Yeah.
But yeah, brother.
So I said that I don't read into artists, and I typically don't, but I want you to tell the story because of like how you got here. Like I think
Yeah.
I know the story, but I want you to tell it.
Yeah, like in Nashville or just like
Yeah,
here
like in
today.
general, music in general. Like
Yeah,
how did you become where you are right now?
totally. I'll try to give you the abridged 2-minute version here, but I'm born and raised in Central California, surrounded by a ton of farmers and agriculture, kind of up near where like John Party is from and Nate
Okay, yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
A lot of
Yep.
people don't associate California with farming and agriculture and cowboy lifestyle, and it's like, man, the city I grew up next to is quite literally called the cowboy capital of the world because we have the most rodeo champions in the Central Valley, which is crazy. But
Really?
yeah, it's true. It's
That's
true. So
awesome.
grew up in Modesto, California. Grew up hunting, fishing. Big love for country music. My mom had me when she was 18, so pretty young, and she was listening to a bunch of 90s country music. So she's a big Garth Brooks fan, Alan Jackson, artists like that. Started playing music in church. When I got to high school, I kind of got the pop punk bug. I kind of ventured away from country music and stuff I grew up on, and had the whole swooped hair and the Vans Warped Tour stuff. And
Yeah.
one thing led to another. I ended up down in LA playing for a couple different artists. I ended up playing for Scotty McCreery right when he won American Idol. I did his first music video for his song "I Love You This Big." Ended up playing guitar for Sabrina Carpenter and kind of bouncing around, just doing some higher on gigs and writing music for fun. Um, I really wasn't trying to be a country artist. Like I loved country, and at the time I was in a relationship with this girl who encouraged me to do it. She's like, "Hey, your old bandmate His name is Kevin Bard. He wrote a couple number ones for Dan and Shay and Parmalee, and he and I were in a band together back in the day. And my ex said, "Hey, you know what? Like, you love country. What's it hurt to just go write songs and be creative for yourself, and just go write some songs because you love to?" So there was no plan of putting out any music. It was really just for myself. Kevin went behind my back, not in a negative way. He went behind my back and started kind of showing my music around a little bit. And of course, they say when you're not looking, that's when opportunities come to you. So at this
Yeah.
point, I'd already been spending weeks and months in Nashville at a time, just because I love the city, I love the community, the focus on music, obviously the history here. I just loved it so much. So I was already spending a lot of time. One thing led to another. I ended up making the move full time to Nashville. I signed my first publishing deal to Universal Music Group. I ended up signing my second little EP deal, and here we are now. So it's been quite a journey of one thing leading to another, and doors closing and doors opening. But here we are, about to release my debut major label EP. So
It's,
once again, reverting back to the song, it's always worth it at the end of the day. You're going
yeah.
through crap you got to grow through.
It's
So
awesome.
crazy.
Because when because I had read about the Scotty thing, right? And
Yeah.
I am a huge like Scotty McCreery is like my like guilty pleasure,
He's
right?
great, man. His
He's
voice is
great, and
incredible.
I think he's like one of the most underrated artists in the industry. Even with hit songs, I don't think he
Yeah.
gets the credit he deserves, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I saw him open up for Kane Brown. I finally
Mm.
got to see him, and he opened for Kane Brown not too long ago here in Providence. And like, I was just so mesmerized by him.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
like I've, that's like, I can't even like I'm like flustered just talking about it because he was just so incredible. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you're turning red over there,
I
buddy.
am. It was like, yeah, I've got like a crush on Scotty
You got it.
McCreery. I'm not afraid to say it.
He's a great kid, and at the time, I think when he won American Idol, I want to say he was like 16. He was super
Yeah,
young. His mother was there too. She makes a cameo in the music video. So young, but then you hear him sing, and you hear this voice come out of him, and you're like, "You're
right,
16, sounding like you've lived 100 lives."
right, right.
So it's so cool, and a couple times I've ran into him since. He's been a great dude, and I have nothing but great things to say about him. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
what's
is
his
he
new
really
song?
like that?
Oh, totally, totally. I
All
think,
right.
he was a little shy. I think, like I said, he was 16 or 17. He just won American Idol, coming from, you probably know better than me, but I think he's from South Carolina.
I think
Is
so.
that right?
Yeah.
South Carolina, forgive us if we got that
Yeah.
wrong, Scotty.
We could be wrong.
But he was just a
Listen,
nice,
if Scotty's listening, I don't. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
I don't give a
yeah.
shit either way. We could
Just
be
so you
right or
talk
wrong. I
crap to
don't
you.
care.
Yeah. And yeah, he's just a sweet young kid, and it's great to see his journey from afar and a distance. But yeah, man, and you hear so many stories of people starting out in different ways. Like, he started from American Idol. Morgan started. What was he on? The Voice
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah.
People have different journeys. I know, like, Riley Green was on Survivor, or maybe it was Chase Rice, or
Chase
yeah,
Rice.
Chase
Yeah.
Rice was on Survivor.
Chase was a
Riley
survivor.
was on like Alabama, some kind of MTV reality show. But it's crazy to just see how people, there's no right or wrong path. Everyone has
Right.
their own paths and leads them to where they're supposed to be. And I just felt a calling to finally like move to Nashville full time. And as soon as I did a few years ago, that's when all the doors opened for me and gave me the
Yeah.
opportunity that I'm, being able to do music for a living now. So it's been awesome.
So how do you? I know you had said like country music wasn't where you were looking for, right? But like, how the hell do you even, for people that are listening to this, probably don't know who the hell Sabrina Carpenter is. I
Yeah,
barely know who Sabrina
yeah,
Carpenter is. But like, how do you get involved with that? Because that's another like I mean, unless you're in the ages of currently 18 to
yeah.
25, I don't think you know who
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter is.
Totally. So living, I got an opportunity to go out to LA and play some music. And for me, I was only, 4.5 hour, 5 hour drive from my family's ranch in Modesto. So it was far enough away for me to pursue what I wanted to do. Like in Tennessee, I got to fly back home now, right? Like I feel like for me, having that comfortability of knowing I could drive home was a big reason why I stayed in LA. But I was just hustling. I was going out and meeting people. I was going to different, writing rooms and going to different shows, connecting with people. And I found myself for a while booking a lot of music videos as a guitar player. Um,
Okay.
and, obviously you're not actually playing, but I loved performing. And I would get recommended by somebody for this band. And that's what happened with Sabrina. So for those who don't know Sabrina, she was a Disney actress. And now she's probably one of the biggest pop stars in the world. But at the time, she was doing the Disney Music Awards. Was the first show that I jumped on with her to play guitar, and yeah, so a friend of a friend just said, "Hey, I have this guitar player. I think he'd fit exactly, what you guys are looking for the band." And that was the opportunity that I got there. But here's another random story for you, just about LA. And I mean, you see the same thing in Nashville. It's just on a little bit of a bigger scale in LA. I was in LA last week. I just played a show with Luke Bryan for his pre-party for the farm tour in Northern California, which was super fun. And there's a flea market in LA called the Melrose Flea Market, and there's a bunch of cool vintage shirts hanging up. Gillies, Gillies. Like, there's some cool stuff up there. I was like, who has this country shirts like this? And nobody's buying them. This is awesome. I look over and it's Joe Jonas from the Jonas Brothers sitting inside this tent, like welcoming me in. And I'm like, Joe, and he's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "What are you doing here?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm selling a bunch of my personal clothes for charity." So yeah, these are all from my personal collection. I wore a bunch of this stuff on tour, and we happen to be the exact same size. So I went through and I cleaned house, getting a bunch of shirts from him. And then sure enough, I go on his Instagram and he's wearing a bunch of this stuff on tour, which is just so funny. But all that to say, to take it back a tiny step. In LA, I was doing some modeling stuff and acting stuff at the time because it was an easy way to make decent money.
Yeah.
And I got cast to be in his music video for a song called Cake by the Ocean. It was like a pretty big, like, pop alternative song. So his wife at the time was this model named Gigi Hadid, and she was the director for the video. I walk in the audition room. She ends up casting me to do this role of a sportscaster. So if you watch the Cake by the Ocean music video, I start the entire music video talking my ESPN voice before the music video starts. So it was cool to see Joe and, be like, "Hey, do you remember me at all? I know I look a little bit different now," and it's cool to reconnect with him and see him. But all that to say, that's how I've gotten opportunities I've gotten, is just a lot of times being in the right place at the right time, meeting all kinds of people, and just being how I am, is just friendly and treating everybody the same. And you just never know, what opportunities might arise from just being kind. And that's not my
Yeah.
purpose for doing it, but more times than not, it's ended up leading to something or connect me with somebody and whatnot. So pretty crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine being in that situation where you walk into a tent and it's Joe.
It's crazy. And nobody, nobody really cared.
Nobody
Like, a
made a
couple
big deal about it.
people, no, but eventually did. After like 20 minutes, uh, all of a sudden there was a line and people, and I think he had to leave pretty quickly after that. But it was cool to see him when there's like nobody in there and he was just with a couple friends and like just posted up.
Yeah.
And I told him I had just written, the Jonas Group has a publishing house here in Nashville, and I wrote with my friend Levi Hummin, and his dad is Marcus Hummin, who wrote "God Bless the Broken Road," and we wrote. He signed with Jonas's publishing, so we ended up going to the Jonas Brothers, or the Jonas family publishing house. So it's just crazy how everything's just kind of all
Yeah.
intertwined with each other. The world
Now,
keeps getting smaller.
now, do you find that your time in LA and all the connections you made there made going to Nashville and getting those connections a little easier?
Totally. And it's interesting too, because particularly in my style of music that I do, one of my good friends that I used to tour with a lot, we have the same label and the same manager, is this guy named Paul DiGiovanni. And he was in a band called Boys Like Girls from Boston. And we used to tour together and work together a lot. We lived in LA together for a long time, and we had both talked about possibly, making the jump into country. And he did. And he found this no-name artist named Jordan Davis and started working with Jordan. And he's produced every single one of Jordan's songs, writes most of Jordan's stuff with him. So it's been cool to, come over here and already have people who were in a different world or a different space or different state, already crushing it in country music.
Yeah.
Another good friend of mine is a guy named Kyle Fishman, and we grew up together in Northern California. He was in like a death metal band and moved to LA for a little bit. He hated it, but he was a good friend of mine, and he moved to Nashville too and was like, "Man, I love the storytelling and the writing and country. I want to go out there and do it." So he came out here. He's had like 10 number ones now. Like, he wrote "Thank God" for Kane Brown. He's written a bunch of stuff for Morgan, for Luke Bryan. He's just crushing it. And it's so inspiring to see friends who just said, "Hey, I have a dream and I'm going to go chase it and make it happen." And to succeed, to see the success that they have had, is so inspiring as an artist who's still climbing and making his way to where I want to be. So
Now, let me
crazy.
ask you. I don't know if I heard this right or not.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Did you just say that the kid, right? We're all the same age, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But from Boys Like Girls went into the country world.
Yeah, so he's Jordan Davis's producer. So not the
Really?
singer. Martin is the singer for Boys Like Girls, and he's had a few big country songs as well. Actually, as a writer, Martin wrote "Drunk and Don't Want to Go Home" for Elle King, which is an
Okay. Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
song with Miranda Lambert.
Yeah.
But Paul, the guitar player from Boys Like Girls, his name's Paul Di. He came out here and started writing, producing. Originally from Boston, moved to LA for years, and that's when we were really
Yeah.
good friends. And yeah, now he's Jordan Davis's main producer. He's been with
Wow.
Jordan for a long time, and they both have just crushed it together. He just did a bunch of stuff for Lily Rose, and he's working for a bunch of different artists now. But yeah,
Lily,
so yeah,
Lily's one of those. She is great.
she's
And
awesome. She's
and
awesome.
she's like under the radar too.
I
Like,
know it's crazy.
I honestly, a couple of years ago, I thought she was gonna just like go from 0 to 60,
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't want to say she stalled, but like she stalled. You know what I mean? And I don't think anything against her or anything like that. It
yeah,
just, you know how this industry is. It's fucking
totally.
fickle. You
And you
know?
don't know if you knew the right moves to make or the right decisions to make,
Right.
everybody would be doing it. So you just never know. And how often do you hear about a song that wasn't going to make a record, and then
Right.
that ends up making a record and being the biggest song of an artist's career? Like the industry is so hard; it's ever changing. You went from when I was. This is going to age me a little bit. When I was younger, like recording songs off the radio on a tape cassette so I could
Yeah.
listen back to them and learn to play guitar, to CD players, to streaming, to Napster, to all of a sudden YouTube and all this stuff. And you really have to navigate and change with the times if you want to stay relevant. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think everyone's, if like I said, if everyone knew the recipe to have success, everybody would be doing it. And
Oh,
we're all
absolutely.
doing our best, but it's crazy.
Right. It's kind of like, like even like a guy like Ernest, right? Where great singer, great songwriter, whole nine yards, like has all the fucking connections in the world, right?
Oh yeah.
And just is just at this level. And not
Yeah.
not that it's a bad level, but
Yeah.
you know, it it's wild. It's
Yeah.
so wild.
It's crazy, and I have dreams of being a lot bigger than I am now, but you got to start somewhere and you got to start digging, and so many times you see one song or one moment changing an artist's career or pushing them up to that next level. So it's hard not to get too caught up in the numbers and looking
Yeah.
at your streaming and comparing yourself to other artists or somebody who just started doing country music 3 weeks ago that's crushing it. And you have
Right.
to put the blinders on, and you got to just be true to yourself and your music. You got to bust your butt, and at the end of the day, that's what I have to live with and be happy with, is knowing that I gave it my all and I did everything I could to get my music in front of people's ears, and did it the right way and treated people well. So it's
Yeah.
the best I can do. And God willing, with my moments coming, and I'm playing Fenway Park next.
You know, we're gonna be at Fenway for Aldine and Brooks and Dunn this coming weekend. Um and I don't have you ever been in Fenway?
I have one time, yes.
Okay. So I'm guessing it was for a game and not for a show.
We played at Comcast Center,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, we went for a game after that.
Yeah. And well, if you ever see a concert there, like it is the worst concert venue in the entire world. Like the worst. Like it wasn't built for it, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um so, the last show I saw there was Post Malone,
yeah.
and like it was fine, but like this time we're super close. So I'm very curious on how the sound's going to be.
Yeah, that's goodness gracious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, and there's another guy too. Post, like one of our good friends, Justin Richards, plays guitar for Post now for this tour that he's on. And Justin started in the pop punk scene. I toured with him as well, and he was in a band called A Rocket to the Moon. And their drummer Andrew drums for Dan and Shay now. So a lot of these pop punk guys, even
Yeah.
like Mitchell Tenpenny, like he loves pop punk a ton, and a lot of these guys love that style of music and grab musicians that were in that world. And it's cool to kind of see the worlds kind of collide a little bit. And I don't do it on purpose, but I've had a few people tell me that they can sense a little bit of pop punk in my songs sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I take it as
especially
a
in this
compliment.
Yeah, no, it is. It's in the song, in the writing, in the sound. Definitely. Now that you say that, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wonder because like we've had Jarrett Reddick on this show.
Mm.
The lead singer from Bowling for Soup,
Of course. Yeah.
and he had put out a country album a couple of years ago, and you know, and now you saying that, like I wonder if it's like a little bit of like kind of the shit I went through, where like I got into that punk scene late in high school because that's when it was like popular,
Yeah.
and like I was a big Something Corporate fan, and
Yeah. Let's go.
like like the good stuff, and like I wonder if it's just like a transition with age,
Mm. Yeah.
where when you are in your late teens, early 20s, whatever, like that pop punk angsty
Totally.
kind of like trying to figure out who you are,
Yeah.
works. And now that
Yeah.
you're an adult, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of know who you are, what you're doing, like that. I mean, for me, it was like that's where the gravitation to country music came from, because it was like, oh, all right, they're talking about things either I've been through or I'm currently going through, and it just
Absolutely.
made more sense.
Yep. And a little bit more mature in some ways, and
Right.
but I still throw on, Taking Back Sunday and Under Oath and artists like that all the
Right.
time when I'm not listening to classic country. I love like 50s and 60s classic country, but I love pop country too. Like, I hate when people say that they love all music, but it just depends on my mood. Like,
Yeah.
I'll listen to some metal during my workout. I'll listen to some Marty Robbins old country. I'll throw on some, Tupac on the drive, like kind of all over the place. But I think it's important to be well versed too, and be appreciative of everybody's art and not just stuck in one
Yeah.
lane, especially as an artist and being inspired by so many different people.
Right. I was gonna say, especially being an artist, like
Yeah.
you have to almost pull from everything. Like you
Yeah.
can't just be blinders on one way and that's it.
Yeah. We wrote a song for an artist who's up and coming. I don't know if you've heard this guy yet. His name's Gareth. Um, He's from Ireland and he's crushing it. He's on tour with Kip Moore right now, doing his first like arena tour with Kip Moore. Incredible kid. Check him out. His voice is amazing. He
Okay.
went viral for his covers that he was posting out of like Noah Kahn and Zach Bryan and artists like that. And anyways, we had written a few songs for him that he already put out. But our last session, we were referencing Paul Simon a bunch. We were just happened to be on a Paul Simon kick. He was in town. We were listening to Paul Simon a bunch. And it's not necessarily right down the country music lane, but so many artists and songs inspire, our writing when we're in the studio too. So I think
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, have you been in a situation? And I'm sure you have, being going from LA to Nashville, where you're in a situation and then you know somebody that's influenced you or you're a huge fan of, like, kind of just either walks in the room or happens to be there. Like, what is that kind of situation like?
Man, I had if you can't tell, I do love pop music as well. I think really well written pop music is incredible. Like you're talking about like the Max Martins and stuff who did the Backstreet Boys stuff and the NSYNC stuff and the mathematical writing that they do. And some people hate it. Some people want it to be more rugged and raw. And I love that stuff too. But there is something special about a really well written pop song. And I had an opportunity to work with Jack Antonoff, who did all of Taylor Swift's last handful of records. He's won Producer of the Year at the Grammys and just an incredible pop producer and alternative producer. And he called me when I was working on a song that he had heard and asked if he could produce and work on this song with me. And that was the craziest thing, to go into his studio. And then full circle, we go into his studio in LA, me flying out from Nashville. And as I'm walking into the studio, Sabrina Carpenter's walking out. So he just produced and done all Sabrina Carpenter's record that's been crushing it. And that was the full circle moment to catch up with Sabrina and be like, oh my gosh, do you remember me from when you were younger and I played guitar for you? And it was cool to connect with her again too. But I mean, Jackie Antonoff was a legend for sure. That's the first one that pops out that was like, this is crazy that he even wants to work on a song that I had something to do with. So pretty crazy.
Now, you knowing like these different worlds outside of country music and how songs work and all that, like you talked about the writing of a pop song. How different is it writing a pop song to writing a country song?
Yeah, and for me, that's kind of where I feel like my two worlds collide,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Because I do love classic country music and classic country storytelling. But for me, I'm very about melodies and syllables. And there's a band called Seeger Roast. It's a very random band, but this is what I'm talking about being very well versed in all kinds of random genres. They're an Icelandic band. They've been around for years. And there's points in this guy's music where he doesn't even say actual words. He just uses vowels and sounds that just sound good to the song, if that
Hmm.
makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I really try to write songs and stuff that are really just appealing uh, to listen to, and the vowels that are in it, or the consonants, or the amount of syllables, and there's a lot of songs that I don't think people realize why they like them, the science behind it, and things too. And you you try not to get caught up in making a perfect song. You know, what does the 21 Pilots say? Like, don't trust the perfect song, or no, don't trust the perfect person, don't trust the perfect song, or something like that. And it's true, but I still just get influenced to, uh, write things that I think people would connect with, but also it's something that they're sonically gonna like, whether they know why or not. So,
Right.
um, yeah, and that's why you kind of find your tribe and people that you write with. And some people you connect with better than others, and some you can't really connect. For me, like, I've written with artists who don't really care how close the rhyme is, or oh, that's good enough, or but man, for me, it's like we could write good songs all day. We've really honed in our skills as songwriters. We're probably not going to write a bad song, but I don't want to write good songs. I want to write great songs. I want to write
Right.
legendary songs. So for me, I really just try to push myself to go that extra mile, and really dig sometimes on maybe just one word, or one line that could really just change the entirety of a song. So some days I'm songwrite and I'm so thankful and I'm so excited. Other days I want to just bang my head against the wall for 5 hours because it's so stressful.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been an incredible opportunity to be here in Nashville. And one thing here in Nashville too, like one of my first writing sessions in Sony's publishing house here, you go in. I was in with Drew Baldridge, one of my first times I moved here to Nashville, and there's just an acoustic guitar in the room and a table, and that's it. And they go, "All right, let's write a song." So that doesn't really happen a ton in LA. You're using a track, or you start with a track, or start building a track and an instrumental. But in country music, like, you grab a guitar. If you can't tell a story with just a guitar and write a song that way, then what are we doing? So
Right.
it's been cool to kind of be well versed in both those kind of worlds, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I think about it, right, and like even when I was younger, like obviously when I was in middle school, high school, elementary school, maybe not elementary, but like Britney was coming on the scene, the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all those guys, and like I was into it because how could you not be growing up in 1997 and not,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, um, but I think about it now, and I hear some pop songs every now and again now, and it's so different. Where it's like feels like the pop songs from when we were growing up actually had more of a story than the ones
no,
now.
yeah.
Like and it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, yeah, and I get it. Some songs aren't meant to be that deep and really tell a story. They're meant to just have fun and put on, and I can appreciate that. And there's definitely some songs that I have that aren't as serious and are more just about having fun and something you can blast with your windows down. But uh, yeah, with that being said, that's one of the reasons we love country, right? Is
Yeah,
because of the songwriting and the storytelling and those kind of things. So
yeah.
that's why I love
I
it,
f-
man.
I feel like country artists, like are the newer country artists now, could take pop songs from when we were kids and make them country songs.
Totally,
You know,
totally.
like
I love that.
I think that's the other thing. I said it to Jared Reddick. Where it's like when you stop and think about punk, the pop punk scene, the early 2000s and all that, like those at the storytelling side of it, those are country songs.
Yeah, big time.
They really are.
Yeah. I mean, love and love lost and all that goes across all genres. You know
Right?
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
struggles and stuff, they might look a little bit different, but everyone's going through the same things and dealing with the same things regardless of what they listen to.
So like, when you write songs or write music, and like a day like today, right, where you're doing shit around the house and whatnot, whether you're listening to music or whether you're not, do you ever get something in your head and you're like, shit, I have to stop what I'm doing right now
Oh yeah.
and write this
Oh yeah.
down?
Yeah, so I have a running list on my phone of song ideas. A lot of times too, I hear somebody say something at a bar that just triggers something, and I just write it down immediately. Sometimes with a little explanation underneath it, like this is why, this is what this means, or this is the inspiration behind the song. So definitely do that all the time. And most of us musicians too, like our voice notes on our phone, that's our best friend. Like if we come up with a melody, there's been plenty of times where I wake up, I literally have a melody of something in a dream. Like in a dream, I'm in the studio writing something, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night, grab my phone, and very lethargically sing a melody and listen to it the next day. And half the time it's crap, but every once in a while you get some good stuff too. But I think as a songwriter, I find inspiration in everything. So my phone, my notes app, and my voice notes are definitely like what keeps me on my toes and keeps everything organized for me.
Yeah. Now, as a songwriter, do you ever like finish a song, even with the stuff you have out now, finish it, it's signed, sealed, delivered, you put it out. Do you ever like stop and think to yourself and go back to it and be like, shit, I should have did this, it should have been that way, or are you 100% happy with what is out?
Yeah, there's plenty of times where I go back in and say I want to change this line, or perhaps I think I want to raise the key a half step, or I want to change guitar. So it's mostly production things. Definitely some songwriting things too, where lyrically we're like, "Hey, that's good, but it's just not good enough." Or I think maybe after listening to it, we should change this. So everything that I've put out and released, I'm really, really happy with because I did that process before we ended up releasing
Yeah,
it.
sure.
I'll sit with a song for a few weeks and get people's opinions on it. And I love sending my songs to non-country music uh, industry folks. I like sending it to country music fans who don't know about the songwriting process or the country music business side of things that
Yeah.
are just country music fans. I love sending it to them because they're the ones we're writing for too, right? Like it's the country music listeners. So I love getting feedback, and sometimes they'll be like, I don't understand what you said here, or I don't understand what this word is. And all that's good feedback for me to, before I end up putting a song out fully, is going back in and really digging at it. So I take pride in that, and really proud of everything I put out so far. And personally, I feel like, you know, as I'm getting older and my writing is getting better, and I feel like the songs are getting better, and everything's kind of leading up right now to this EP coming out next week. And I'm really excited for you to hear it. After this, I'm going to send it to you. If you're just sitting around the house or drinking
Fuck
beers
yeah.
or something, have a listen to it. Let me know what you think.
I will.
But I'm really, really excited about it.
Now, do you, like I said, like it has your style and your sound of country music has not been where I am. And you know
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I think
It's all
I
good.
think you might have like brought me back to the
Let's
dark
go.
side. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
But like I'm gonna ask you this, right? Because of
Let's hear it.
your songs are really, really good. And I wouldn't say that if they weren't. Trust me, I'd be like,
Okay.
yeah, no, they're fine.
Yeah.
You know, you know. But we talked about Zach Top and Zach Bryan and like the like, right? And we can kind of see a shift of that even in, popular country music right now
Mhm.
and radio play and all that. Are we going that way, do you think, you being in the industry as much as you are, or do you think it's, or is that, I call it
Yeah.
bro country, but like, that
Yeah.
like more like pop country sound. Is there a place for both of them on country radio? I
Yeah,
guess is
I
my
mean, I,
question.
I, I think they can coexist for sure.
Yeah.
I think in music we talk about the pendulum swinging, and
Yeah.
right now this is really what's big and what people are really listening to and really like. And I love all those artists, and they're all artists I listen to too. And then it'll eventually will swing to a different genre of country. We saw it 10 years ago. It was a little bit different with the Sam Hunts and some of those guys, and even before that, a little bit more bro country with FGL and Cole
Yeah.
Swindell and guys like that. And then you go back to '90s. That was so. I think it swings and things come back and forth. But for me, I'm not chasing the trend. I'm not chasing a sound.
Yeah.
I'm writing stuff that I love to listen to.
Yeah.
That I would personally put on and be like, I really like this stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely think they can coexist. And I think at the end of the day, as long as you're true to yourself and true to what you're writing and talking about, that's where you get your respect from. And
Yeah.
not knocking anybody, but
No. No.
country's big. Country's big right now. and people are jumping on the train.
Yeah.
And I think fans and people can see right through the stuff,
The
people are
bullshit. Yeah.
trying to be.
Sorry. You can
And I'm
swear.
not sitting here saying I was plowing fields and, baling hay my whole life.
Right. Right.
I'm not trying to fake that by any means, but I grew up, in the Central Valley, surrounded by farmers and inspired by country music and living that life. And I go home now, and my dad just sent me a photo of him with his farm fresh eggs he's selling today, and all the berries around his house that he's picking for summer. And yeah, so I think part of it is just as long as you're being real and true, both can exist for sure.
Yeah.
And I love all those guys. They're so
Yeah,
good.
it's funny because like I try to, I'm pulling back the curtain here a little bit, but I try to put on a front where it's like, oh, Luke Bryan sucks and
Of
all the,
course.
all these, because like that's also the fun, popular thing to do too, and that's what
Totally.
gets clicks
Yeah.
and all that. But like, I love that shit.
Yeah,
I
dude.
really do.
It's a lot of people's guilty pleasures, and
Yeah,
I just watched a documentary. My parents were like, "Hey, Luke reminds us so much of you. Like, watch this Luke Bryan documentary." And I do recommend it because you get a real life or real life look at, like, he grew up country as hell. I think his dad was a peanut farmer, is what he
yeah,
was, and he
yeah,
was playing honky tonks before he made it, and he got a lot of crap for being bro country and
yeah.
doing what he did, but. At the end of the day, like I'm not making music to make anybody else happy in the sense of like writing it for them to like it. I hope people do, and I hope the people that like it. And not everyone's gonna like your music or like you. Some
Right.
people think I smile too much, or people don't like. People might say I look cheesy in some of the things I do, and I'm not doing it for anybody else other than me.
You
And
can't.
I'm being myself and being true to myself. And I want my songs to reflect that. And at the end of the day, if I do that, I can live with myself and where my career takes me.
It's funny you said that about Luke because I'm a big Joe Rogan guy.
Yeah, yeah,
And a few months ago, Luke was on Rogan, and I listened to the 3 hour episode or however long it was, and I had text my friend Cindy is a huge like she would travel the world for Luke Bryan, right? And I said to her, I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I just listened to this interview with Rogan with Luke Bryan, and I go, this dude is incredible.
yeah, yeah,
And like sometimes that happens. Sometimes you kind of need to, and that's why I do the show the way I do it, is
yeah.
because sometimes you need that realism. You
Totally.
need that authenticity and not just what you're shown. You need the
Yeah,
conversation. You need to hear the story behind, behind
totally.
the music.
If people made their assumptions or judgments about me based off one or two songs and a couple photos, the first thing I hear from people is they're like, "Wow, you're a lot funnier in person." And I'm like, all my pictures look serious. Like I don't try to do it like that, but
Right?
yeah, until you get to know somebody, it makes you more of a fan of their music when you kind
Yeah,
of know their story and their background,
exactly.
why they write what they do, and why they do what they do. But yeah, big fan of Luke and what he's done. And man, if I could ever get close to what he's done, I'd be thrilled.
And that's what I think that's my favorite part about doing this show is like I'm a New Englander through and through, right? Regardless of anything, like I already have a lot of judgment about people before before even having conversations. It's just
Oh
how it
yeah,
works, right?
yeah,
And like I can't tell you that's how I go into every one of these episodes going, what the fuck am I gonna get? Because I don't know.
yeah,
And like
exactly.
I also love that, right?
Yep,
Because it's going into it, I have one idea, but coming out, I
totally.
was like, oh my God, my mind is blown. And I love that.
Yeah, you met me and you're like, damn, this guy's tall and buff and so funny. And I get it. I get it. I
Yeah.
changed your mind.
Right. I mean, at this point, I'm going to have to put the video out so that I get all the female likes and
Yeah.
follows. And then the guys are going to be like, oh, fuck that dude. And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to,
Whoever listens to my music is fine, but I love the girls and guys listen to my music. But hey, whatever gets it out there and whatever sparks things, I'm good with it.
yeah. So now the songs you have out and the
Yep.
EP that's coming out, are there any surprises?
Man, there is one song that it did really well for me. A video that I posted of a clip of this song called "Never Have to Say," and it's the only ballad on my record. And I write a lot of love songs, if you can't tell. And I'm single, like I don't have a girlfriend, don't have a wife, and some of my songs are about marriage. and a longtime partner. And for me, it's kind of writing like what I'm hoping for one day and manifesting and things that would be a dream for me to have eventually. But there's this really beautiful ballad on there called Never Have to Say with some really beautiful fiddle on it. I'm going to kick myself for forgetting the woman's name. She's an amazing fiddle player. She plays with John Party, and she absolutely crushed it on this song. And then the very last song on the album is a little bit different than the rest of the stuff that I've released. It's a really fun boat drinking song based on true events. It's called "I'll Quit Drinking Tomorrow." And I don't know if you've ever been to a bar. And
No, never. What's that
yeah,
like?
never been. I live in New
Never been?
England. Never been to a bar. What is that? Bar mitzvah? What is
Yeah,
that?
I think when we're done here, I'm gonna go to the bar, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
I know. I had my whiskey because we're on the Boots and Whiskey podcast. I had to
Yeah.
get some. Got to fill back up. Um, what you got me distracted thinking about whiskey?
Sorry.
What are we talking about?
Bar songs.
Bar songs. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I've been to a bunch of bars where they have signs that say "free beer tomorrow."
Sorry. Yeah.
And every time you come in, it's obviously the joke is it's free beer tomorrow because every time you go in, it says that. So I
Yeah.
wrote a song called "I'll Quit Drinking Tomorrow" because after a crazy weekend of drinking, I'm like, I'm done. I'm eating my kale this week. I'm eating good. I'm drinking water. And then it's Monday Night Football and my 49ers are playing, right? And then it's Tuesday and it's somebody's wedding. And then it's Wednesday and somebody has the boat on the lake for the day. And there's always a reason to celebrate, always a reason to drink. So you know what? I'll quit drinking tomorrow.
I love that.
So it's a really fun. It's a little bit different than the rest of the songs I have on my record. But I'm excited for you. I'm gonna send it to you right now. I'm gonna
Oh, I
need a
cannot wait.
detailed feedback on everything. There's 7
I will.
songs on this one. But that's kind of a fun, just a little bit different than the rest of the songs on the album too. So
That's awesome. I love that.
oh,
I
yeah.
like, like this conversation was, I think, the breath of fresh air I needed this weekend.
I love it. I mean, dude,
Like,
amazing. That makes me
honestly,
happy,
like,
brother.
anybody that listens to this show or has on a regular basis knows that my life has been a fucking shit show,
Yeah.
right? And like,
Okay.
I haven't had much of a reason to smile and be excited for much lately. I'm not fucking looking for sympathy, but like,
Yeah.
this has been the most like your energy and your enthusiasm is just so palpable, and like it's made me like smile, like genuinely
Man,
smile for the first time in a while.
that's the biggest compliment you could give somebody, man. So thank you for that. I've been
No,
really blessed to have an amazing family. My parents are still together, and an amazing support system, and a God who loves me above. And I just feel like I'm just oozing the love that I feel like I've been filled with my whole life from people. And I hope it comes out in my music, and I hope the more I'm able to spend on tour and on the road, that I get to get more people and get more people to smile like that. So I
yeah.
appreciate that. That means a lot.
Well, I hope you come back up here soon because
I know I'm bummed I missed you, but
I'm
next time we
so
come through,
now I'm so mad because we gotta go out drinking. I can
I
show
don't
you some
drink.
great spot. No, you know.
Actually, no. Yeah, I'll quit drinking tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep. That's what
I love Boston.
I had a banger of a night last Tuesday, and I was like, I'm never drinking again. And then Wednesday
Yeah.
night, I was like, man, fuck
See,
it.
this is gonna be your new anthem right here. I'll quit drinking tomorrow.
Yeah, it might
Telling
be.
you,
It might be.
man. Well, dude, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, man.
As an
Anytime.
up and coming artist, it means a lot to get our voices out there and to have people support us. So
Yeah,
thank you
man.
so much for doing what you do, and I'm looking forward to continuing to watch you and you're exploding as well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's really awesome to see somebody like you with the enthusiasm you have doing it your way, and it's awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
It's
For
awesome.
real. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And next time you're in the area, dude, reach
Oh, you're
out,
the first
and
call.
that sounds good.
All right, man. We'll
All
talk
right,
soon. Don't
Clay.
be a stranger. And
Yeah,
I'm going to send you this EP right now. Let me know what you
sounds
think.
good. Thanks, brother.
All right, man. Peace.
Bye. Well, there you have it. Episode 299 is in the books. I can't believe it. Clayton Johnson, what a great conversation that was, wasn't it? Like, aren't you like full of like God, like you can do anything you want now. Like, such a good dude, man. Like, this is the epitome of hard work and like just being fucking thankful for who you are and where you are and what you're doing, right? We could all use a little more Clayton Johnson inside of us all. Um that came out weird. But you know what I mean? Like that sense of forget it. Forget it. So thank you all for sticking with us and checking it out and listening. God, I've gone off on we have lost it along the way on this podcast. But anyway, tomorrow, big ass stadium tour. We will be live from Gillette with all of that. So stay tuned. It's gonna rain, but fuck it, who cares, right? What? It's rained every weekend here in New England for like the last 6 months. So who cares? But we'll be there, and stay just stay tuned for some things maybe after the the posty Jelly Roll show. If you can read between those lines. But yeah, check it out. Review up of Clayton's new EP is out. Check that out on our website, bootsandwhiskyentertainment.com. Merch is available. Go check it out, guys. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here for $2.99. We'll see you down the road for $300 on Tuesday with Nolan Taylor. Have a great weekend, y'all. Cheers, guys. We'll see you real soon.